Hello and welcome back to part 2 of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles NES version playthrough. And of course, for some reason the Ninja Turtles crashed their van. And Splinter is such a wuss that he got carried away by Mousers, which... I might have mentioned this in the arcade version video, but I just find that a bit too, a little bit to believe that Splinter, being the ninja master he teached all 4 Ninja Turtles, and like 4 little mechanized things can just take him away. But you know, whatever. I guess everyone can have an off day, even Splinter. And now this is where I realized that the little hole with the Mousers pop out of is just like the little hole that they pop out of the wall. It's really no different how they pop out here, even though it looks entirely different. Now here's more of the sword throwing, and one thing you'll notice is that if you swing your weapon exactly at the time the projectile is going to hit you, it'll make that ching sound, and it'll not hit you, which is good. But of course, when you have multiple foot soldiers from every side throwing projectiles at you, it's never a fun thing. I was thinking to myself, it was pretty obvious that something was going to happen, so I just figured I'd test the waters and see if there was actually lasers that shot. And I was glad that all the foot soldiers would come up and fight with me instead of having me come down there, because it's bad enough to have to fight these guys, but having to dodge lasers as well is not really all that fun, so it's really good that you can just come right up here and not have to play with everything else as well. And I definitely have to say, this is a very good rendition of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles theme song, especially for an 8-bit sound version. At least I thought it was good. And I know every Ninja Turtles video I've ever done, I've probably mentioned this, but in the European version it was called Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles, because that's just what they were called in Europe. Something about that version to using the word ninja, so they just, I guess they just said hero because, you know, after all, they are heroes anyway, so that works. That's another thing I find weird in a lot of NES versions. In the actual arcade version of this, the foot soldiers, their spears were blue and they were just regular purple foot soldiers. But of course, in this, to help with the palette, it was just a purple spear and a purple foot soldier. I don't know if I let any of these guys shoot their lasers, but they shoot the same laser as Bebop does in the earlier stage. No, it doesn't look like I gave any of them a chance. For some reason, whenever I hear this, I expect to hear, like in the arcade version, like after the song plays, you expect to hear one of the Ninja Turtles go hey, but of course, it probably would have been too much for the NES version to have the sound samples in the music all the time, but still a good rendition of the song nonetheless. And now, that's something I definitely have to address right now, is what are the foot soldiers actually doing to the Ninja Turtles when they're holding them like that? Are there electrodes in their hands that are like zapping the power out of the Ninja Turtle and actually hurting the Ninja Turtle? Or is it just like they're a bad guy and by like being in contact by them you get hurt? I never quite understood that, and I always thought it was a really weird thing. I probably said the same thing in the arcade version, but when I saw this I was thinking, oh no, here's the next boss. And as you can see, I'm kind of in desperation mode at this point, trying to desperately not die. But sadly, not all the time can that happen. And just like those robot things that would drive away around on the wheels earlier, these are another really annoying enemy. In the same vein, basically. With a little helicopter blade on the top. The only thing I would have thought would have been cooler about the Ninja Turtles game here is if they included more of the enemies from the cartoon. But I guess at the time this was released, you didn't have as much presence of that yet. So, like some of the bosses like Leatherhead or the Rat King or Metalhead, who is the robotic Ninja Turtle, they didn't even exist yet. So, it would be really cool if like some game developer today would take the original Ninja Turtles cartoon and made a game out of it. And if you saw that foot soldier actually get exploded right there, I think that was the only foot soldier this whole game that I took out with one of those explosive barrels. It seems like in the arcade version they went over there a lot more, but this version they just kind of like go right to you. And if you remember right, in the arcade version, there was actually a foot soldier making these guns go. And I thought that the foot soldier, if you defeat him, the guns will stop, but of course, not so much. And the reason I took these guns out is that I didn't want a foot soldier knocking me back and making me hit the gun. Now, I definitely have to say, compared to his actual arcade version appearance, this Rock Soldier is still a bit annoying, but he's not nearly as annoying. He didn't hit me nearly as much as he did in the arcade game, so he ended up being a bit of an easier boss in the end, so it wasn't that bad. And it's just funny looking at Splinter over there, how he's like fidgeting around. It's like, is he really trying to desperately get out? You think after a while he'd actually get tired and stop doing that, but I guess he doesn't really get tired when he's just a pre-generated sprite that continuously does the same motion. And what was cool is I think I get hit at least once here with the fire ray, yeah, like right there. I thought it was cool that they actually kept that, like, the Ninja Turtle getting burnt effect in this. So, you still see that effect of fire hitting you. It's not one of the many things where you just get hit and it just knocks you back. I had mentioned it earlier, but I really like those effects in any of these beat-em-up games. It just adds a bit of dimension to the game, in my opinion. Nonetheless, this is still not exactly the easiest boss in the world, because it seems like he has a bit more strength than anybody else. He finally starts blinking here. And you can pretty much count on it when I lose my life here. I'll hit him once and he'll die. Or at least pretty close to that. You see, I lost 2 pellets of health while I had the new life, and if I had just been able to kill him. And one thing I found weird about the Rock Soldier dying there is that he just kind of totally, terribly exploded, and you think to yourself, what causes him to explode like that? Is there dynamite in him, so if he gets defeated, he'll just blow up? I can honestly say, considering how long it's been since I played this game, I really didn't remember this stage much. And as you'll see as I'm playing this, a lot of the enemies come to a surprise, and the strategies that I may have developed when I was younger didn't come into play, because I can tell you between when I was young and now, I probably played Ninja Turtles, the arcade game, a lot, but not nearly as much that I would get to the end. It's one of those things like, there's certain games you play, you probably played maybe the first couple stages a lot, but you didn't get to the end a lot. Now these weird jumping, I guess you'd call them ninja foot soldiers, are another console exclusive enemy. They're not really all that bad. The only thing you have to worry about is when they're on the ground, they'll try to stab you when they throw their weapons, but they're easy enough to dodge due to the downward arc that they go on. Then of course if you get actually hit by the enemy, you get hurt, but you can easily do a jump kick right at them and take them out pretty easily. And that's an effect that I really like, the Japanese doors opening, because it's a really nice dojo thing. And of course, as I'd mentioned, this is the dojo level, which it's pretty obvious because it has the wooden floor and all the Japanese doors and everything. But this is another one of those songs which I really do like. It's, of course, original for the dojo stage here because it wasn't in any other version of the game. Now, I might be mistaken, but I was pretty sure if you followed those halls, you'll fall like you fell into a sewer hall, but I don't think I actually do it during this gameplay, like, that I don't get close enough to those holes to really test that. And even though this is an arcade, this is a Nintendo game, it's kind of cool to see the cityscape through the windows there, even though it's pretty generic. I think these are just our typical punchers, but it doesn't look like they're throwing any throwing stars or anything at me, so they just might be the regular punching foot soldiers that I was mentioning in the other part of the video. I think the only difference between them and the other ones is they don't throw the shurikens, they just punch. My only thought could be that they wanted to add a lot of these in this stage because they figure, hey, they do martial arts, they don't throw weapons at you, so that's kind of works with the theme of the stage. What would have been cool is instead of having those weird jumping around ones that throw the knives at you, it would just be a ninja foot soldier that do all kinds of crazy kicks. But I guess they thought just the regular punching foot soldiers would fit the build pretty well. And now, anytime you have spikes that come out of the ground, you gotta really be careful because they're gonna throw more than one set, and they're gonna be kind of random in a lot of these games. Now, I can say without anything here that this part took me totally by surprise. I was thinking, wait, the tiger came out of the wall. Do I have to attack him? And first, I was thinking the jump kick would do it, but as you can see here, the jump kick, you just kind of bounce off them. Jump attack to their face doesn't work because they hit you before you hit them. So as you can see here, I'm having an awful time defeating the tiger. And I was thinking to myself, I gotta figure out how to destroy this thing, so I could see that I was already gonna have to face another one on the, in the top right corner there. You see another one on the wall, and I was thinking, nah, there's no way that one's not gonna show up as an enemy if this one did. It's not like they're gonna have a tiger on the wall and you're not gonna have to fight him. Definitely not an exactly easy enemy. You have to kind of get the rhythm down. You can hit them, they'll get knocked back. As long as they don't jump, you can just hit them head on. But if they jump, you can't hit them. You should just try to go down so you can dodge their jump. It's really one of those enemies, in my opinion, that doesn't seem to really fit in with the rest of the game. And, like, after I was hitting him so many times, I kept thinking to myself, is this just a regular enemy, or is this the boss? It's not playing the boss music, shouldn't it be? And then for some reason it just catches fire, so I guess it was some kind of robot. And as I was mentioning earlier, I saw that the second one was on the wall, so I figured he has to be another enemy. But at this point, I kind of had gotten the strategy of defeating this enemy down, so it wasn't as hard. But as you can see, every 200 points you get an extra life, so I was getting kind of close right now, so I was thinking, even if I only have this one life for this level, I'll still have another life at least. So when I do eventually get the Technodrome, which I was thinking would be the next level when I was playing this, I was thinking, oh good, the Technodrome, it's the next level. And then all of a sudden I get into this dojo and I'm like, wait, ninja magic, what are they talking about? Oh, there's another stage. Okay. Because I remember when I beat the last stage, I was thinking to myself, oh wow, I have a lot of lives, this is really good. It won't be a problem at all. But yeah, then I faced this stage and Not so much with the lives anymore. Because this stage is a bit relentless when it comes to the introducing new enemies to you, as I was mentioning in part 1. This is the level with the most new enemies of any level in the game. And of course, it goes without saying those tigers were console exclusives, as are these scorpions. They weren't in the arcade version. And I remember for some reason when I was playing this thing, I was thinking to myself, I remember in the Angry Video Game Nerd video when he was like, "Luke, I am your father, and I'm a scorpion." I just thought that was really funny. But then again, it's one of those things like, why did Darth Vader turn into a scorpion? And it plays this like really crazy music. Of course, just like the little metal dog things and the helicopters and the robots that go all around, they're all kind of the same-ish enemy that shoot the lasers and do other things, like these guys stab you and they jump back. Once I got their pattern down, I was able to defeat them a little bit better. So they weren't all that bad. And as I was mentioning the whole Pizza Hut thing, I remember right in my instruction manual there was actually a Pizza Hut coupon on the back, which to this day I don't believe I ever used. It's still intact on the back of the manual. I believe I have it in a box somewhere with a bunch of my other manuals. But it was one of those things. I remember when I was young there wasn't any Pizza Hut by me. So unless I was like on a bus trip somewhere, or somewhere like not right by home, it's not like I went to Pizza Hut all that often. When I was young, the only pizza place that was really by me was either the local pizza places, or the big one was Domino's. It was one of those places that you're like, oh wow, this is really good pizza. And now today, like, with the pizza places I have around me, Domino's is okay, but the local places just tend to be a bit better because they have a more custom taste to their pizza, whereas your franchise pizza tends to be a little bit more generic tasting, that's all. Because it's kind of one of those things where they want to keep their pizza the same, all chain-wide, kind of like if you go to McDonald's, you always want the Big Mac to taste the same. With any McDonald's you go to, you want the Big Mac to be the same. It's the same thing with pizza. Your Pizza Hut pizza, your Domino's pizza. And now here is the final exclusive boss. He's called Shogun. Now I can honestly tell you I wasn't trying to get the pizza there. I should have let him get a bit lower down on the screen, but not so much. I was just hoping to myself, this guy doesn't seem too bad, but I just hope I don't lose 2 lives or I'd be done here. If it wasn't bad enough that you have to dodge his shots with what looks like a Naginata, you have to dodge the head, which is coming at you as well, so it makes this a bit of a harder boss. So it's not exactly a walk in the park when it comes to this guy. It seems like both of the bosses, the Snow Dog one and the Shogun one here, weren't all that easy, but, you know, when it comes to any of the beat-em-ups, it's not going to be too easy. So, just a few more hits here and he'll be destroyed. And I can honestly tell you, you can see how I was still kind of jumping around, then I finally stopped moving. I didn't expect him to just die right there. And as you can see, it was just like a robot frame. There it is! And now if you're wondering, if you're wondering why I all of a sudden have 9 lives again, there were actually 2. My first playthrough of this, I got all the way to the Technodrome, and I died after, I believe it was after the second set of guns, because I only had like 2 lives, the life that I had and the, no, I think I only had 1 life. So after the second set of guns, I died. And then on my second try, I got all the way to the end of the Technodrome. I beat Krang, and then when I got the Shredder, I ended up having a problem with Shredder, and I what do you call it? I died. So yeah, this stage is one of those much longer stages than the rest of the game. It just seems a bit more than you'd really expect it to be. So the cool part is in this whole playthrough I only actually used 2 continues, so it wasn't too bad. And one thing I can say, at least this looks like the Technodrome, albeit in 8-bit graphics. Now I can remember when I hit that in this game, I was like, oh wow, you can destroy those crazy ice things. So it was a good thing that they allowed you to do that in this version of the game. Because, you know, when it comes to any version of the game, when they make these console versions, which I honestly don't consider this a port of the game, because the code in this is not going to be based anything off the arcade version, but it's going to be completely remade for the console it was made off of. I think the PC version of Ninja Turtles, the arcade game, actually is a port of this. Which, in a way, you think that's kind of weird. Now, it's a possibility that the ones in the earlier stage of these guys, they didn't shoot the laser beams at all, because I noticed like these guys shoot them right away, but the other guys I killed them really quick. But considering how quick these guys shoot their laser beams, they it had to have been that the other ones just didn't shoot them at all. Now I actually realized something about my quote-unquote lost playthroughs. When I had died to Shredder and Krang, yeah, when I played the first time, I died after these guns here, and then my second time I died to Shredder and Krang. Like, I got all the way to Shredder and Krang, and Shredder kept doing that attack where he turns into a little turtle in one hit and kills you. When I continued, I actually started at Krang, so you didn't have to do the Technodrome again. Which is a really nice thing. Now, I wouldn't doubt there's probably somebody out there who would say, well, you should have to play the whole stage over again because it just seems unfair that you get an advantage. But, yeah, it's cool that they give you that thing where you don't have to go all the way through the stage all over again. It's kind of like when you're playing one of my favorite Nintendo games of all time, which one of these days I will do a full gameplay video, but of course this will have to be done in a few videos. It's not going to be a 2-parter like this. It's going to be like probably like a 5-parter or a 6-parter or like a 10-parter for all I know. But that's Zelda 2: The Adventure Link. When you get to the Great Palace, which is the last level of the game, since you had to go through all this lava and everything and all these different stages to get to it, when you continue in that game, you actually start at the Great Palace. You don't have to go all the way there because you have to cross the continent, go around the big spider thing, through the lava, and then you finally get there. So it kind of reminds me of that when you get to Shredder and Krang and you die on either or. You continue at Shredder and Krang. You don't have to go all the way through this long stage. Because I can remember thinking at some point in this gameplay, I was thinking, this level just seems like it's never gonna end. And as you'd imagine, I wasn't expecting to be icicled right then, because I was thinking, I gotta jump over this laser, and then all of a sudden I get icicled. And the sad part about those things is there's not really any pattern to them, so it's kind of hard for me to figure out where to step and where not to step. And now here's the big ball bearings that we actually haven't seen since level 1. So that's kind of cool. And now I don't know if you noticed that, like about a second ago, all kinds of like numbers just flashed on the screen, and I was thinking to myself, oh no, I'm almost to the end of this game and it's gonna glitch. And I was very glad that nothing ended up happening, but you know, occasionally you will play a Nintendo Entertainment System game, and even with the best system, I've even heard people tell me that their top loader's done this. But even with the best system, a Nintendo can glitch and actually cause a problem. And right at that point right there, I was thinking to myself, oh no, I'm gonna die. I don't want to lose a life here, so I grabbed the pizza. And this is the last time that our good friends, the Machine Gun Foot Soldiers, would get their cameo here. And what was surprising is how many of these guys there are. It just seems like they keep coming and they never stop. And that looks like it was the last one. And of course, here's another bunch of friends from stage 1. And just like every 8-bit song, I like this one as well. It's a definitely good song, but I'd have to say of just about all ending stage level songs, I'd have to say Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers, I think it was the Fat Cat Food Factory. It was actually the level. That is still one of my favorite last level songs. And I can honestly tell you, I'll be like idle doing something, I'll be at work, and that song will just randomly start going in my head, and it'll be one of those things, I just gotta play some Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers. And that's probably another game I'll eventually do a playthrough of on the channel here, because it's just one of those games that I enjoy so much that every once in a while I just gotta pull out the good old cartridge and give it a play, because it's just one of those excellent games, like this one here, in fact. And this is another enemy in the game, those robot guys that would actually talk in the arcade version as well. Which, as I have probably mentioned at least half a dozen times now, they removed all those sound clips from even the Xbox Live Arcade version. And at least the Foot Soldiers have their jump kick as well. It's not like they're completely limited. It looks like these are the non-throwing star versions of the Foot Soldiers, so they have a bit of a limited attacking thing. What do you think if Shredder had a choice? He would actually have chosen the better ones that had the jump kick. Now here's our second Rock Soldier, and he seems to hit me a lot more than he did in the arcade version, so I guess they retooled him a little bit to make up for the other one being not so good as he was. Now something that surprised me is when I hit the wall by those laser beams that are blocking my way, is that I didn't get electrocuted right away. If I were to stay there, then I wouldn't get electrocuted. See, if I got... There you go. He knocked me into the beams, but if I just fall on the wall, I don't get hit by the beams. And at least it didn't fool me like it did in the arcade version, where... Since here, all you see is black, you don't see the next room. I of course knew that there was nothing to go to the next room in, but in the arcade versions, there actually is some scenery in the door. I kind of was like, oh yeah, I could just walk right through here, that's good, and then I got shocked, of course. And just like the other Rock Soldier, it seems like this guy has a bit more hit points than the normal bosses in this game. I guess they wanted to do that because he's kind of like the last boss before the last bosses. So they just make him a bit tougher for you. But at least now you know that he's weakening up a little bit and he's almost dying. I don't know what that's supposed to be, but it sounds like a moose dying or a moose being in distress. Now this is another piece of music I love in this game. And now you might notice it again that I'm back up to 9 lives, but it's as I told you. In that actual bit of the playthrough, when I got to this part, it didn't take me much to defeat Krang, but Shredder just kept spamming that attack with the 3 lightning bolts that turn you into the little turtle, and I ended up dying and I had to continue again. And instead of showing you about maybe like 15 minutes or so of footage that's going to be a repeat, I figured I'd just cut that all out. But of course I'm not going to lie and say, oh, I'm so good, I could never lose this game. You know, everyone loses every once in a while. And if you remember right from the cartoon, that thing in the background is Krang and Shredder's warp zone to Dimension X. So that's what Krang actually came out of right now. I guess he was like visiting the rock soldiers and all his friends there, because apparently a lot of people like Krang in Dimension X. It's like his home. And whenever I see the Krang body do that thing where he moves his arms up and down, it looks like Krang's body's having a fit. And it just wants to like get away, but Krang's stopping it from getting away. That's what I always think of when I see that. And if you let the demo play, you'll actually see the you'll actually see this, but it doesn't play the music. It just shows Krang's body and the Ninja Turtle fighting him. And you can, if you look really close, you can see Krang in the waist there. But he's not all that defined, of course, because it's only 8-bit. And I can remember episodes of the cartoons where he shot eye lasers, and he did the thing where he shot his arm out as well. And it's really annoying that you can't hit Krang here. And now this is the first time in the game where something else happens and you don't get a life refill. You just go right into the double Shredder battle here. And now shortly after before playing this, I had read the secret that somebody had posted that if you hit the one Shredder and you get his helmet to come off, you'll be able to limit the one Shredder from doing the one-hit kill attack there. And for some reason, it seems like the AI forgot that, because the one Shredder will still go all the way to the side of the screen, like he was going to use that attack, but he just kind of stands there for a minute, giving you some free hits on regular Shredder. Because the one whose helmet doesn't come off, as you know, is the real Shredder. So you have to be careful not to hit fake Shredder, or he will die, and then another fake Shredder will form. And if he has his helmet on, of course, he can do the one-hit kill attack. Now here's another part where he kind of forgot he's supposed to be attacking you. But anytime when you have like a boss and you have more than one, especially when they both can have the same abilities. And there, sadly, I accidentally killed fake Shredder again. So I have to desperately try to take one of the helmets off here. And yeah, on my first playthrough, there were so many times that he would hit me with that lightning attack, and I wasn't able to win because I just lost all my lives. And there you go, there's fake Shredder again. I guess Shredder just uses his magical power and clones himself. And this is another really good song in this game. Although I can honestly say in the future games that would have the Super Shredder song, I thought that was a better song. Especially the one that I saw that was played by a YouTuber. I'll see if I can link him in the description, his version of Super Shredder. It's one of the best ones I've heard. And for some reason, it sounds like when Shredder swings his sword at you, he's like swinging a bat at you. That's what the sound effect sounds like, at least. Like a wiffle bat, even. And now, sadly, it seems like Shredder takes like forever to actually weaken. But then again, you would expect that because he is the final boss of the game. He's not just a sub-boss or a minor boss. And now you'll notice real Shredder's helmet came off, which means he's about to die. And at this point I was getting all worried. I'm like, oh no, I'm going to die. I'm gonna die once again and I'm gonna have to continue again. I think I still had like a continue or two left. But the good thing is when regular Shredder loses his helmet, he can't spawn another fake Shredder. And he can't do the one-hit kill anymore. And now everyone has to get out of the Technodrome before it blows up, and we pretty much get the same ending text as we did in the arcade version. Epilogue: freaked out the Foots, mangled the Mousers, and totaled the Technodrome. That's turtle power, but what about Shredder and Krang? Burned to toast, vaporized to milkshake, or escaped Dimension X until we know none of us can sleep safely in our beds or shells. Although if you've ever seen the cartoon, they do sleep in beds. And of course, as if you had watched my whole arcade version, or if you've seen the arcade version, the credit sequence was really quite different. It was the like the Ninja Turtles portraits were going across the screen, instead of just being a marquee on a building like this. And I always find that weird when it just shows the first initial of one of the programmers. It doesn't say his full name. But it's possible that they couldn't fit the full names there, and then it shows the Ninja Turtles on the other building there in another display. Like, what's your job? I'm the sub-programmer. And if I was young, I would have been like, oh, that's the guy who programs the submarines, not realizing it's just like an assistant programmer. And the funny part is, if you play any like fairly modern games, a credit sequence like this would like last as long as this, but it'd be credits constantly rolling on the screen because so many more people work on a game these days than they did back then. But you had like one guy who worked on each part of the game, and back like one generation even before this, like Atari 2600, you'd have maybe one or sometimes even two people that would work on a game, and that's all. Which is really cool to think that one guy could make a game, but then again, in a way that's not so good because it could be a horrible game. But yeah, Ninja Turtles the arcade game for Nintendo, this is an excellent game and I'd recommend it for everybody. Thank you for watching my video, and I shall see you later. Bye.